Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and tell us where you're listening in the comments. I was at the front door, suitcase in hand, ready to fly to Europe with my daughter, when my phone buzzed on the nightstand. I was folding my favorite travel shirt. The blue cotton felt soft between my fingers as I smoothed out the last wrinkle, thinking of wearing it to dinner at that little bistro Lindsay had found near the Louvre. My suitcase sat open on the bed like a promise, half filled with carefully chosen clothes. The weather app showed sunny skies in Paris. The tickets to Charles de Gaulle lay next to my passport, both crisp and ready. 6 hours until departure. My heart had that familiar flutter of travel excitement. Lindsay's name lit the screen. I set the shirt down. I expected a last-minute detail or a reminder about meeting at the airport. I did not expect the words that made my blood go cold. "You're not coming to Europe with us. My husband prefers this vacation to be a family vacation." I read it once, then twice. My thumb hovered over the screen as if time could change the sentence. Family only. The phrase looped in my head like a broken record. I was her father. I had planned this trip. I had bought the tickets, mapped the itinerary, picked the restaurants. What did family only mean when you were talking to your own child? I sat down heavily on the edge of the bed. The suitcase gaped open beside me. My hands trembled as I typed the only reply I could manage. Okay. Disappointment settled into my chest like a stone. I looked around the room at everything I had prepared for a trip that was suddenly not mine. Travel-sized toiletries lined the dresser, guidebooks, sticky notes marking places we'd planned to visit, a new camera still in its box. I closed the suitcase with careful, deliberate movements. Each click of the latches sounded final. I called the airline. The hold music was a soft, distant thing as I canceled my ticket. The representative was sympathetic, efficient. "I'm sorry to hear about your change of plans, Mr. Owens," she said. I wondered if she could hear the disappointment in my voice. The house felt emptier than usual. I sat in the living room, travel brochures scattered across the coffee table, and stared. Outside, a neighbor's dog barked. Inside, my phone glowed. I scrolled aimlessly through Facebook looking for distraction. That's when I saw them. Todd's parents in front of the Eiffel Tower, grinning. Lindsay and Todd in another photo, wine glasses on the table. The caption read, "Beginning of the best family vacation ever." The timestamp said 2 hours ago. I clicked through the photos. There were 4 faces in a picture where I'd expected 3. The word family burned like a brand. Maybe it was an old photo. Maybe I'd misunderstood. I kept telling myself that until I saw transaction alerts on my banking app with Parisian timestamps. A lunch at a restaurant, a boutique charge. It hit me with a cold, small fury. I had given Lindsay authorized access to my card years ago to help her build credit. They had excluded me from their holiday and were dining on my money. I called. The call connected to a bustling background, street sounds, someone laughing. "Hi, Dad," Lindsay said, bright and careless. I asked about the photos. She paused, then said, "You said it was family only. Besides, Todd thinks you can be overwhelming." Overwhelming. Ruined. Words like knives. I had planned this. I had paid. She said it as if I had been a problem to solve. I walked to my office, surrounded by family photos that suddenly looked like exhibits in a case. Me teaching Lindsay to ride a bike. Her graduation. Her wedding. $30,000 I'd paid for a perfect day. I pulled out bank statements, receipts, everything I'd kept out of habit. Down payment on their house, $80,000 from my retirement fund, car payments, credit cards paid, vacations funded, gifts, sacrifices I hadn't realized were bargains to be cashed in. A realization settled over me. I had confused generosity with love. They had accepted my help, but never invited me into their lives. I closed the laptop without taking action. Some decisions needed thought, some needed planning. The next banking notification was the final straw, a lunch charge at a Paris restaurant timestamped at 7:45 p.m. My time, right when they were celebrating without me. I scrolled through charges, hotels, boutiques, attractions. all on my card. I opened the card management in my banking app. Lindsay's name sat there, as an authorized user. My thumb hovered, then moved. Remove authorized user. Confirm. Remove immediately. It felt like the first taste of real control in years. The phone rang at 9:01 a.m. the next day. Lindsay. Her voice was urgent, then furious. Dad, what did you do to the card? I tried to pay for lunch and it was declined. I was humiliated. Her voice cut. You have to fix this right now, or there will be consequences. Consequences. She said the word casually, as if the people who'd been helped for years could threaten with nothing more than a tone. We're looking into care facilities, she added, cruel and clinical. You can't handle your finances responsibly. We'll sell your house to pay for it. The audacity stopped my breath. This was no longer just a vacation. This was a power play. I thought of the house deed in my filing cabinet, the Maple Street house I had bought for them. Just for mortgage approval, they'd said. We'll transfer it to our names later. They never did. My name remained on the title. I found Marcus Chen's business card, drove to his office, and asked him to list the property immediately. Mark, it's hot, he said. Price it to move. He could have a team ready by tomorrow. I called movers. I arranged storage. I paid the first month in advance. I planned an early start. For the first time in days, something like purpose steadied my hands. At 7:45 a.m., I arrived at the Maple Street house. Dave's moving crew was efficient and discreet. We moved through each room. I packed boxes I'd bought for their life. Designer handbags, expensive electronics, a sectional sofa. I found wedding albums. I noticed I was absent from most photos, or relegated to the edges. It hurt. It also clarified things. This wasn't about affection, it was about utility. By noon, the house was empty. I followed the truck to storage and watched their life go into Unit 47B. I paid Dave in cash and added a generous tip. Driving home felt oddly light. The land I had cultivated, the mortgage I had carried. Suddenly, it was a transaction with a beginning, a middle, and an end. An email came in that afternoon. Marcus had a serious buyer. Cash offer, above asking, closing immediately. By Friday, I was signing papers at the title company. The sale closed, $185,000. I walked away with profit and the legal right to reclaim my life. That same Saturday, I drove past Maple Street, a U-Haul in the driveway. A young couple, Michael and Sarah, moving in with hopeful energy. A baby crib. A swing set. Life returning to a place that had become a ledger of debts served with entitlement. Todd and Lindsay returned from Europe to find strangers in their home. Confusion turned to rage. You can't do this, Todd shouted. This is our house. It was always my property, I said, calm and steady. You never transferred the deed. Lindsay's voice went high and sharp. You can't just sell our home. You can't do this to your own daughter. How could you do this to your own father, I asked. There were threats. There were promises of lawsuits. I expected them. The paperwork arrived 3 months later. They sued. The court saw the deed, the dates, the facts. Lawsuit dismissed. Attorney fees awarded to me. Clean victory. The judge was thorough and unsympathetic to their claims. Town gossip swirled for a while. At the coffee shop, people nodded to me. He worked hard his whole life, someone said. I let the opinions wash over me. What mattered wasn't what others thought. It was that I had taken back a life that had been siphoned away by expectation. A few weeks later, I found Max, a 3-year-old golden retriever, at the pet store. He jumped into my arms like we'd been waiting to meet. That night, he slept by my bed. For the first time in months, neither of us felt alone. I sold my second car and, with savings, bought a modest RV, just the right size for one person and a dog who loved the open window. We planned a route: national parks, small towns, places I had postponed for years. I set mail on hold. I asked neighbors to watch the house. I packed one photo album, pictures of Lindsay as a child, before money complicated love. The morning we left Davenport, I drove past Maple Street one last time. Michael and Sarah's children were in the yard. The house was alive in the way I had hoped it would be. I pulled onto the highway with Max at my side. The sign read, Colorado, 500 miles. That evening, we stopped at a scenic overlook. I set up a folding chair and watched the sun paint the mountains orange and purple. Max settled beside me, content and steady. For the first time in years, I felt exactly where I belonged. If you liked this story, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Click the box on the left to listen to the next story.